Hello everyone and good morning. I've just noticed it's actually 10 o'clock already. In fact, it's 10:01, so we better get started. So just to introduce this session on autism and employment, we've got 4 fantastic speakers lined up today, so I'll do a brief introduction. I think what I'll do is I'll ask each speaker to introduce themselves when they start speaking, just in the interests of time. To introduce myself, I'm James Cusack. I'm a 6'4" tall white man with a beard and brown hair. And I'm also the chief executive of Autistica, which is the UK's leading autism research and campaigning charity. I became interested in autism because I was diagnosed with autism as a child, so I'm autistic, and I've worked with autistic people and families. I've also done a lot of work on autism policy as well. As a charity, we're really interested in autism and employment because of the outcomes that autistic people experience in terms of accessing work, and also because we see it as a significant opportunity for autistic people, society and the economy to try and ensure that more autistic people have access to work. And we're really interested in the range of different solutions that can be employed in that respect. We've done a lot of work in the UK on how government can make changes to make employment more accessible for autistic people. Most notably, we were commissioned by the UK's Prime Minister to do a review into autism and employment last year. We've created a tool called the Neurodiversity Employers Index, which helps companies to understand how they can change their practices to really benefit from the sort of range of neurodiversity that exists in our society, and to really make the point that in doing so, that you really not only generate benefits for autistic people or neurodivergent people, people with ADHD and so on, but also for your whole workforce. Because ultimately, as an employer, what you should be trying to do is trying to adapt your practices to ensure that it is as enabling as possible for everyone, to maximise the benefits of cognitive diversity, and if you can do that, ultimately you're putting your organisation in the best position to be effective and to thrive. And so there's some really clear arguments around this. We're also really working hard on how you ready autistic people for work, which is helping autistic people to have that resilience, having a set of realistic ambitions around accessing work and helping them to understand what support they'll need as they transition into the workplace as well. So we think it's a really exciting area and a real important area where I think there's real opportunities to deliver enormous change. And very, very proud to be working on this, and very, very proud to be able to be here today and to be part of such a fantastic panel of speakers. And so with that in mind, what I will now do is begin to introduce the speakers. Just to say today that we have Catarina Fonseca from Critical Software, Portugal, Kurt Schöffer from auticon, Deutschland, Remo Sugimoto from OHANA, Japan. And I will now start by handing over to our first speaker, who is Melissa Bradley from the Jonas Center for Career Preparation at Beacon College in the United States of America. Over to you, Melissa.
Thank you, James. Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Bradley, and I serve... Oh, thank you. Forgive me. I'm not going to hear too much there. Good morning again. My name is Melissa Bradley, and I serve as the director of the Jones Center for Career Preparation at Beacon College, which is located in the United States, specifically in the Central Florida market. I am a white female whose pronouns are she and her, and I am 6 feet tall when standing, with short brown, very curly hair. And I was going to tell you that I was 52 years old, but as it turns out, I'm actually 53 years old. So one can always hope for youth in that respect there. But it's truly a pleasure to be here with this panel today and the extraordinary work that everyone in this entire ZeroCon community is doing globally. At Beacon College, to frame the work that we do, for the last 35 years, we are the exciting U.S. institution that is solely dedicated to a neurodiverse student population. That's an incredible feat for us in the United States, as it has global impact and reach for all of those that we can serve and impact. through our messaging being illuminating the life abundant, where we serve students on both the spectrum and those with learning intention differences throughout our learning community. We serve about 525 undergraduate students and those from 42 states and 6 different foreign nations as well. We are a true dynamic of a traditional post-secondary learning culture with on-campus housing and dining, athletics, clubs, semesters abroad in both Dubai as well as other countries in the UK, as well as even in Germany as well. We also look at our international study abroad programs that we can serve our students currently taking place in Tokyo and beyond. We subscribe to a universal learning design model at Beacon College, which is for those with integrated academic career development, executive function, and social emotional support outcomes and resources that we can provide to all the students that we serve. To give you a sense of what our enrollment looks like at Beacon College in that liberal arts programming that we can provide, the majority of our students looking in the space of tech and design, anthrozoology, human services, even in psychology, and also studio arts. What's interesting is that now we're working with employers and different talent pipelines who want to come to Beacon College and schools just like us and be able to identify how can our students across different cultures and across different majors work together to build a new talent workforce for a neurodiverse talent pipeline that we're developing on campus and abroad. In most recent days, we've partnered with a healthcare provider who would like to work with our psychology majors, our human services majors, and our anthrozoology majors, as they are looking for ways to help persons with dementia and working with support animals to help them through their journey. So it's an incredible space to be in and to work with students who are leaning into these new employment curves. At the Center for Career Preparation, we are focused on educating, engaging, and empowering every college student who learns differently, and to partner with employer champions, as we have here on this panel, and across Xerocon, to ignite a global pathway of success for emerging neurodiverse and neurodivergent talent everywhere. We can accomplish this through an actual system of supports that begins with looking at the classroom experience and intentional learning, coupled with ongoing learning, real-world practice, and technology that helps leverage authentic feedback with a continuous measure of upskilling. The secret to that education success really does begin, though, with a 4-year career development model that begins as early as their first year in college at Beacon. We look for students and we want to be sure that we're developing that career development mindset with them from the onset through particular faculty, as well as studying the employer competencies that we're looking for across the states and across global communities as well. When we look for what that is for students to educate them, we want to be sure that industry awareness and preparation are key for all students who are moving through our programs at the post-secondary level. We recognize industry expectations with lifelong learners and the programming that we can provide to accomplish that. At Beacon, we have 12 industry certifications and micro-credentialing programs that speak to industry needs here in the areas around that we support. Example here, we have our student Fiona, who is a junior in our human services program, who recently earned her registered behavior technician certification, where she can also help preschoolers as an education minor who are also autistic themselves. Thank you for the little sip there. Most recently, the students you see below in the photograph you have there on screen are examples of our students with autism who we have partnered recently to help them earn their gateway credential into the WISE certification program, which is the industry standard for device repair that's recognized globally. This is important in the areas of industry as well as insurance, manufacturing, and other industries and retailers who are looking for these skilled individuals in their careers and journeys after they graduate from college. That engagement is critical throughout Beacon, and we can employ that connection and that relationship piece with our students thanks to the work of our career advisors who are assigned by majors And the engagement level at the college is extraordinary, considering that no student is required to visit the Center for Career Preparation, but yet they're inherently encouraged to do so. Last semester alone, our 2 full-time career advisors continued and delivered over 500 one-to-one student appointments to help students develop what their career goals are and leverage the resources that we're providing to students here at the college. We also deliver a robust student employment program that employs almost 30% of our student population, and to see that level of engagement has grown exponentially in the last 2 years alone. That engagement factor, though, has to be not only a combination of classroom learning, but truly authentic experiential learning that takes place as early as freshman year, where our students begin then to complete at least 80 hours of experiential learning through internships or other volunteer and service work that they can do that honors their major, their minor, or their career goals. This is important also in the clockwork that you see in the photographs on screen right now, that we also want to be sure that our students are leaning into industry and combining both that classroom learning with industry experience through career treks throughout the Central Florida market with small, medium, and large employers who are eager both for neurotypical employees and neurodiverse employees that they can help to grow and invest in that talent pipeline for the future. We want to help our students align with female and minority-owned businesses so they can understand the needs of the industry and grow with that over time. Most recently, we've also leveraged interview practice training software, so now we can leverage AI and human feedback with interview performance that students are delivering when they are preparing for these jobs, and not doing so after they graduate, but doing so from the onset when they first enter college. Most recently, we've also leveraged mixed reality simulation to help our students with interactive trainings to improve their communication skills on the job or in internships, working with their supervisors and even frontline managers. We can leverage that exact same technology to also now train frontline managers, hiring resource individuals, and also frontline supervisors to help them also lean in and work with those who learn and perform differently. It's also helped us in training for inclusive interviewing practices from the employer's perspective, which has been a tremendous help to those that we can serve also. The impact of this in just the last year and a half alone has been extraordinary. In just that time period, of our 161 graduates who've now partnered with over 250 different industry partners, both domestic and globally, has resulted in 38 industry credentials to complement the degree they're earning at Beacon College. And it's also spent time, about 17,000 hours of experiential learning, hands-on practice with extraordinary industry partners. And all of that as a result, too, of student preparation with over 1,071 interview practice videos. It's leveraging human feedback with AI feedback for all those that we can serve. It's an incredible opportunity to educate, engage, and empower the students that we serve. So please join us in developing this global development of a 21st century neurodiverse talent workforce. And please feel free to scan the QR code or visit Beacon College website to learn more about how we can support students and employers just like those who are supporting the XeroCon conference this year. My email address is there as well. I look forward to connecting with you all. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much, Melissa. And just to say to you all, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions at the end, and there'll also be a summary from our graphic designer as well. I'm now going to hand over to Remo Sugimoto from OHANA Company Japan. So over to you, Remo.
Thank you, James, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today in this wonderful session. I'm very excited and honored to share about our coffee project and how we empower autistic people with high support needs in rural Japan. Before talking about that, let me introduce myself and my company a little bit. I'm Remo. I work as a COO at a private company called OHANA, an autism specialized social welfare service provider in Akita Prefecture. which is a beautiful countryside in the northern Japan, where there is a lack of specialized support for autistic persons. I am a sister of my younger brother who has severe autism. And unfortunately, after he graduated from special needs school, he was rejected by almost all the social welfare facilities in his hometown. My mother was taking care of him at home every day, so she couldn't work, and my family was struggling with some financial problems, which was why I was supporting myself financially when I was a university student. This is my personal story, but there are many people who are struggling with the similar situations, even in Japan. In fact, about 78% of the population with disabilities in Japan struggle with relative poverty. So the parents are supposed to take care of their children for their entire life, but what if they are gone? That's a very critical issue. That's why our company exists, to become a first and only organization in Akita Prefecture specialized in autism support. We run 4 centers, including daycare and residential centers for children and adults with autism. We accept some of the most difficult cases of those who have very extreme challenging behaviors and who are rejected by other organizations. For example, one of my clients hit himself so hard that he got blind. These extreme behaviors makes it difficult and even possible for them to utilize social welfare services. We accept and support them based on some proven methods such as TEACH program and applied behavior analysis. Our overall vision is to create a society where every autistic person and their families have access to the quality care and support throughout their life. At our daycare center, we make coffee with our autistic clients. We are a daycare center, so it's normally not a place to help them work, it's a place to take care of them. However, we found some people using our daycare center have potentials in vocational skills, even though they were rejected by some employment support facilities or normal labor markets before. So we try to match their different abilities with the suitable jobs and try to offer them with some personalized working environments so that they can maximize their capabilities. And we provide them with some wages depending on the amount and contents of their work, and so that they can use it for their leisure activities and to make their life better. As you can see in the second picture, our coffee packages are beautifully designed by an artist with Down syndrome, Ms. Megumi Fuji, to showcase her artistic talent. I will show you one case of Mr. A. He was previously rejected by 4 employment support centers because of his aggressive behaviors. He has very strong attention to details, so he's very good at handpicking of raw coffee beans, which is a process of identifying and removing some defective beans which affect the taste of coffee negatively. When he tried handpicking for the first time, it was difficult for him because he was not sure which bean was defective or not. And he kept asking me questions, and without my answer, he couldn't work on the task. So we prepared for some visual instructions based on our assessment results, as well as some trays for him to place each bean into 3 categories: good beans, bad beans, and questionable beans. By doing so, he is finally able to work on this task independently. This is only one example, but other people have different abilities. For example, some of them are good at measuring ground coffee beans and pack them into the drip bags, or some other people help label the packages. So we adjust the working environment so that they can use their different ability as a strength. So we are going to open a new data center next month, focusing on this coffee production, and we will officially start selling our coffee to the public widely, not only to Japanese people, but also potentially to the global audience. We would like to increase the number of the workers as well as the wages, and we also would like to collaborate with the international partners, including some coffee farmers, cafes, artists, or some social welfare service providers to make our impacts bigger. Yes. So finally, I'd like to mention that our coffee demonstrates that each autistic person has different abilities and they can use it as a strength if they have the right support. Our vision is not only to empower them with the right support, but also to let more people know about this fact, their capabilities, their strengths, to challenge some negative social stigma still going around disability in Japan and also all over the world. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Remo. That was really interesting. I'm now going to hand over to Schöffer from auticon Deutschland.
Thank you, James, and thank you all for being in this room, because I think we very much appreciate that you're interested in autism. I personally think that, the neurodiversity is still a stepchild in inclusion, because it is very often you call it differently ability or disability that is easily overseen. And this is also why we are trying to tackle a problem which is there. And it's really important to understand that more than 70% of autistic people are unemployed, or what we also always find again and again, they are what we call underemployed. That means they have jobs that do not fit to their skills at all. And I want to, before I talk a little bit about myself and the company, I want to give you just one example. We hired 6 years ago a colleague in the UK. He was delivering pizza and was only doing this kind of jobs for around 10 years, but had no chance to get back in a reasonable employment. And we did our whole program with him. We tested his cognitive skills. We were overwhelmed by his pattern recognition. We couldn't believe the results we have seen. So long story short, we hired him and we sent him into a really sophisticated project at Allianz in London. And the only question we got from the client is, how many more of the same kind do you have? And our answer was, not enough yet, but we're working on it. So very, very often the guys have either no job. In average, the employees who join us have been unemployed for 3 years. And that can be just after the education cliff, when your work basically finishes, ours starts, because it is very difficult already there to find a job. And I will explain in the next minutes how we do it. And of course, I'm very happy to answer any questions you might have afterwards, or you send me an email or whatsoever. So talking about myself, I've been all of my life in the IT industry, and I love to be an entrepreneur. And when I heard about the concept of a social enterprise, I thought this must be fantastic. If you can be an entrepreneur and do what you really like, and this whole work pays off in a social impact, this must be super cool. And when I was asked to help Auticon back in 2013, I didn't need to think about, do I want to do that or not? I thought I will help them for 6 or 12 months, and now I'm here after 12 years and being the CEO of the company, and it has been a tremendous journey, and it had been a lot of fun. But myself, I'm just above 60, I'm wearing a great jacket, and my hair also goes more and more into that direction, blue shirt, dark blue trousers, and I'm just around 170 meters height. So, how are we doing that? And let me get started. So who are we today? We are the biggest autistic majority company in the world. And I always say that with a little bit of pride, but also with a lot of hesitation, because we shouldn't be, right? I mean, we are just a small enterprise that started in Germany, and basically the big players on this planet, they should have much more autistic people on board. We are in 15 countries, on 3 continents that you see here. Of course, the main focus is in Europe, where we started, but we are also in Australia, and we have built up this business now to almost 600 employees. And as you can see, 76% of that are autistic, and 80% are neurodivergent, because we also have other people on board which probably have ADHD or things like that. So our vision is obvious. We want to have a much more inclusive world and equal career opportunities for our friends on the spectrum. I think the picture has changed quite significantly since we started. I mean, when I started, a lot of my friends said, "What are you doing? What is autism?" And this question, unfortunately, is not asked any longer today. So many people have understood that this is really kind of a special power that the colleagues have. And Remo, you already talked about, you know, the cognitive skills and the mathematical skills. And basically all we need to do is we need to take care of the 2-3 things that autistic people are struggling with, and create an environment together with our clients where they can fully focus on their strengths. And if we do that, the results of their work is just stunning. And honestly, it takes just a few things to do it right. It's no rocket science. It's not super complicated, but we need to know our colleagues in and out. We do need to understand them better than any other employer. We need to know what are the green buttons to press, what are the red buttons to avoid. And it's never an art. It's never really very, very complicated. You just need to find out what works and what doesn't work. So what makes us different? We are, as I already said at the beginning, we are a social enterprise. That means we are a for-profit organization, and all the colleagues we have are on our payroll. That means it is up to us to find the right projects. We are working, fortunately, with fantastic clients around the world, you know, with very famous names, and they have, the most important thing is they have really interesting IT projects for us where they need support, and we provide that support. And we, you know, on the one hand side, deliver, I would say, very good work on the IT side, but more importantly, we open the eyes of our clients for neurodiversity. We show them that it's really worthwhile to look for this around 15% of the population and try to bring in more and more neurodiverse people because, you know, the results are better, the likelihood that people stay on board is getting higher, so it really has also a positive business impact. Very, very short, you know how it all started. It was a small office in Berlin in 2011. I joined in 2013, being employee number 7. And since then, we have been growing it first in Europe. 2016, we went to London and Paris. And then in 2018, we started in Italy and Switzerland in Europe. And also at the same time, did 2 small acquisitions in Canada and the US. And just before COVID, we started in Australia, which was then the toughest start because right after we started, COVID came. And so it was purely trying to survive. 2 years ago, we actually joined forces with a company called Unicus. Unicus did basically what we did in Central Europe, in Northern Europe. And by that, we added another few markets. And as I already said, we are today in about 15 countries. The important thing, from the beginning, we had 2 goals, 2 obvious goals. One was we wanted to create as many career opportunities as we can ourselves. But equally important for us and our shareholders was we just wanted to be the blueprint. We just wanted to prove that it's doable. And we wanted our clients to start doing the same. And as we have seen that they are a little bit reluctant on that, and you know, it feels good to have auticon consultants on board, and then they can tick the box of neurodiversity. we thought, okay, showing them is not enough, we need to educate them. And this is why we have, in the last 2 years, developed a whole series of neuro-inclusion services that typically starts with an analysis on where is the company today. Then we define together with the client where do they want to be in 2 or 3 years. And then we have all kind of training services, coaching as a service and so on to help them to become a destination for neurodivergent talent themselves. And that is very important because, you know, even if we have 1,000 autistic employees one day, the 70% will not have changed. If all of our clients start doing the same, then we have a realistic chance, and this is, I think, the goal we should all have, to bring this unemployment rate down at least below 50% as a next step. This next slide just shows again, you know, that our two-folded approach. One is the obvious one that we are doing since 12 years now, which are our IT services that rank from simple testing to really highly sophisticated projects on security, cyber, AI, and all other areas. And the second leg, so to say, are our neuro-inclusion services, where we try to share our knowledge that we have brought together in the last 12 years with our clients. How we make it work, this is of course a very important question. I said at the beginning we need to take care of the 2 or 3 things where our colleagues normally struggle. And we have, I think the secret of success of Auticon are really our job coaches. We have around 50 coaches in the team. Each of them is taking care of 5 to 10 of our consultants. And they are just there to make sure that everything that could distract them from doing their job is taken care of. And this works really well. The job coach is also the interface between us and our client, because sometimes also the client has a question, says, I have a difficult situation, I cannot really get to your colleague explaining what we want, and so on. And then the job coach is really the interface, helping both sides to come together, avoid any mistakes, and make it work. And we are really proud to say we did never ever need to stop a project because our colleagues are autistic, not a single one. It has always worked out. We needed to sometimes, of course, interfere and get talking and discussing, but after clarifying what is important, it always has worked. And that just is the best proof that autistic people can do a fantastic job. So a little bit of feedback from our own employees. You see the numbers here, and they are pretty much self-explaining. The biggest thing that I personally think we are changing is the self-confidence of our people. Because when they come to us, typically, you know, after being 3-4 years unemployed, the self-confidence doesn't exist. And when they start to deal with us about higher salary and things like that, then we know, yes, we have achieved what we wanted to achieve, and they understand that they are a very valuable member of the community. The same is happening on the client side. So, you know, 96%, this is really a high number, say that the services we provide on the IT side are contributing big style to the success of their projects. But equally important for us is 85% say that through Auticon they have understood much better what neurodiversity means, what autism means, and they are getting into the world of also, you know, trying to get more and more people on board. And as I said before, and this is very important, to make us just being the stone into the water, and the waves need to be our clients who carry the message onwards. So I think I took a minute or two more, which always happens when I talk about our company. Happy to be here, very, very impressed by the project itself. I think especially nowadays it is important that we stay even louder than in the past. I'm personally very worried about what is going on in the world, and I'm just so encouraged by everybody on this conference, because we keep fighting. We will be even doing more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and I wholeheartedly agree. I'm going to hand over to Catarina Fonseca from Critical Software in Portugal now. Over to you.
Thank you, James. Hi, everyone. I'm Catarina Fonseca from Critical Software, Portugal, and today I'm here to present you our neurodiversity program. First, the audio description. I'm a white, 43-years-old woman. I have long hair, brown eyes as well, and I'm wearing white and black shirt. So, our neurodiversity program. Well, this is working. Yes. Well, Critical Software. Well, we are an IT company, a big IT company. We develop reliable and innovative solutions for critical systems. So, as you can imagine, we need all the talent we can bring to our company. And this is the very first reason why we are hiring neurodiversity. It's just a part of our strategy to attract good talent for our team. The second reason is because Critical Software is a benefit corporation. So we have the responsibility of contributing to a better and a more inclusive world. We launched this initiative back in 2021 in Portugal, together with Specialistern. Specialistern is a foundation from Denmark. Their mission is to create 1 million jobs for autistic people worldwide. And so we started the program with them. From the beginning, we always wanted to have more IT companies together with us in the program. And the reason is simple. If we are more IT companies together, we can together create more jobs for autistic people. We can increase the impact of these initiatives. So we are glad that today Critical TechWorks and also NOS joined us in our neurodiversity program, and together we are creating and contributing a more inclusive world, we hope. Well, how does it work? The goal is to select, to train, and to support the inclusion for long-term employment of autistic people. So we do have an adapted selection process, a more flexible selection process. It's not easier, I always say that, it's not easier, it's adapted, meaning that we remove the barriers so the autistic candidates can show their true potential. Also, we give 5 weeks work-related training for autistic candidates so they can be prepared before they start to work with us. But also, we provide awareness and training sessions for the entire company to prepare the receiving and the hosting and welcoming of the autistic candidates. And then the inclusion process started. Based on a very careful matching between the profile of the candidate and the specificity of the vacancy. We support with coaching, specialized coaching, not only the autistic employee, but also the hosting team. The goal is long-term employment. So we need this to succeed. We need our colleagues to succeed 100% integrated in the company, in our teams. The approach. Well, we do know that these colleagues may have some challenges due to their diagnosis, such like social communication or interaction challenges. We do know that, and that's fine. We are ready to provide the network, the support they need to overcome these challenges. But the approach is let's focus on their abilities instead of their disabilities. Because these colleagues may have a very interesting skills profile for a company like Critical Software. Passion for details, perseverance, logical thinking, high attention skills, good memory, and so on. So let's embrace our differences, let's welcome them in our engineering teams, and let's work together, really together, to build a more stronger teams and projects. Now, the main results so far. In 4 editions, we received 280 applications from autistic candidates. We have trained 50 people so far. We hired 28 autistic professionals. And we achieved a very important milestone for us at Critical Software. We now have more than 1% of our workforce being neurodiverse, disclosed as neurodiverse. We have much more than that, but disclosed as neurodiverse, we have more than 1%. And, you know, we can see high performance and satisfied autistic professionals 100% integrated in our teams, in our daily routines at Critical Software. We can feel engaged and very productive teams all working together. But I believe the main output of this program is that it pushes us as a company to evolving. We are effectively building a more empathetic workplace every day at Critical that fosters equity for all employees, and this matters a lot for us. To be honest, during this journey, we have found more neurosimilarity than neurodiversity. So maybe we need to change the name of our program. This concept, neurosimilarity, it was introduced recently by Carol Gray, I believe, and it seeks to emphasize that it is normal that all of us think differently. So it's perfectly normal. We are all different human beings. We are all different. And this is a defining characteristic of our humanity. So neurosimilarity maybe instead of neurodiversity. And the last slide. Where do we go from here? At Critical Software, we are ambitious. So we want to expand the program. We want more companies to join us in this journey. It's the only way for us to increase the impact, to create more jobs. We want to reach more companies, more countries, more cities, more candidates. We want to multiply the impact by 100. We are fully committed to share our experiences and learnings with others, to actively push the movement forward. And I'm so glad to be here today in this panel of speakers in this conference. It was my first time in Zero Conference. I'm here today presenting Critical Software and our program, but this is a huge effort of so many people in Portugal, and I would like you to meet some of them in 1-minute videos that I will share with you right away. Okay, let's see it.
Foi uma espécie de última oportunidade, porque eu estava cientemente a pensar mudar de carreira.
São várias sessões de treino e treinamento, de fazermos parcerias com escolas, ou seja, de onde é que vem o talento de facto, começamos a aí implementar esta awareness, e são os trabalhos de toda a gente que tem contacto com a pessoa neurodiversa e não na pessoa neurodiversa que precisa de fazer as adaptações. As pessoas acham que há uma necessidade brutal de adaptar as funções totalmente à pessoa. E não, aqui foi uma aprendizagem mútua da equipa, do João.
E eu acho que é este trabalho em equipa que permite que a integração corra bem. Não depende de uma pessoa, depende de várias pessoas.
Queremos que a pessoa, num ambiente mais seguro, consiga já preparar-se de algum modo para estar integrada na empresa para onde poderá ir.
A minha equipa sempre foi bastante acomodadora, eu nunca tive assim grandes problemas.
É precisamente a capacidade de adaptar-nos à diferença.
E no fundo não há nada mais normal que sermos todos diferentes uns dos outros, portanto cada um precisa do seu contexto, da sua adaptação, seja lá ela qual for.
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you very much, Catarina, and to all of our speakers again for really fantastic presentations. We have just under 5 minutes for questions before we hand over to our graphic designer. So I'll open the floor up and give anyone the opportunity to ask a question.
Yeah, I am Antonio Martinez from Spain. I want to make a question to the colleague from Japan. And the question is if these people who work in the coffee process have a regular contract and a regular wage, or is that more something like a sheltered employment and with only pocket money and so on? I appreciate very much your efforts, but of course, if it is not a regular employment, this is only a first step. I hope that you also undertake the next steps.
Thank you so much for your question. So to answer your question, actually we are not private company hiring persons with autism or employment support facilities for people with disabilities. We are a daycare center, and our people who are using our daycare centers working on this coffee project. So we are not making a regular contract with them. However, there are some people who cannot fit into the labor market or employment support facilities for people with disabilities either. So we would like to empower them and let them feel confident and meaningful in their life through the work. So I actually interviewed with one autistic person who is verbal, and he told me that it's very fun for him to work on the hand picking of coffee beans, and because he is very good at identifying defective beans. And he also said he looks forward to going to his favorite restaurant using his wages that he earned from the coffee project. He also told me that he wants people in the northern part of Japan to taste our coffee because it's been almost 14 years since the Great East Japan earthquake happened. So by listening to him, we decided to sell our coffee at charity events and donated all of the sales to the earthquake victims. So like he said, work is not only to make money, but also to feel confident, to feel meaningful, and to feel independent in their own life. So that's what we do. I hope it answers you well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Flavia. I'm from Brazil. I came here because of the sunflower, but I'm in this world because of my daughter. She's 15 years old. She's autistic. And I'm curious, Kurt, why we always hear about autistic working in IT, because she's very social. She talks like a parrot. She's very social. And I don't see she working in the near future. She's 15, she wants to start working already. Why most of the time we are talking about autism in workspace, we talk about IT?
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I think the main reason is that it's so obvious that the skills and the task fit so well together. But if I take the example of Auticon, we have a salesperson who is autistic. We have somebody in marketing who is autistic. We have somebody in HR who is autistic. So we are trying, in our company to have them in all different kind of roles. But very clearly on the consultant side, it is autistic people only. We really want to have a black and white model. I'm very often asked, which jobs can you not imagine an autistic people to do? And my answer is always none. I think they could do any job if we just find, the right environment for them. For us as a company, it is of course important to focus on something. Because if we offer too many services, we are lost. We couldn't offer, let me say, gardening services together with IT and all that kind of things. But this is why we hope that a lot of other companies will be there with having at least autistic people on board, or as we have, autistic majority.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got one very brief question over here, then we'll have to move on to graphic designer.
Hi, I'm Robbie Arabino. I am apparently autistic, and I thought I would showcase myself as a guy who went underemployed after my internship at a UN department. So I was a graphic design intern for the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs. And since it ended around June 2023, I went through a big amount of struggle finding a job. I even went back to America since May 2024 to find a job which apparently was underemployed for me. I worked at a convenience store, even at a restaurant, and at a festival for a short time. And then I moved back here since the end of December. I went through a long type of struggle that many autistics have faced. And since I'm here for job creation, I thought of what if this creation could also be related to entrepreneurship for autistics, because I thought of making a company that can support autistics like me, but not only autistics, but also persons with disabilities. And familiarly, I have a creative talent, and I wish that people with disabilities who has a creative talent want to showcase their works throughout the entire industries of creativity worldwide. So, my question is for all of you: how do you support those with a creative talent? Do you allow them to showcase their creative work by a special program? If not, how about I can help you with that?
Okay. We really need to move on to the graphic designer now, but thank you, Robbie, for taking the time to share your experience and ask that question. I think the question itself is almost more important than the answers in some ways, because I think that the short answer is there is no right answer, and I think what we're looking at is a range of solutions. In the government review that we did, we talked a lot about how entrepreneurship is a route that many autistic people take. and that we need to think about how we support autistic people in that regard, because that offers them the flexibility that many seek afterwards. So thank you so much, Robbie, for your contribution. I'm now going to hand over to the graphic designer.
Yeah, there's no questions from the audience now. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because but we're running out of time. I'm very sorry. Maybe you can come to us later. Okay. Yeah, my job is to show pictures, and I cannot describe everything because I will try to give a very short and slow summary so the interpreters can also follow. So this summary of today's session was, of course, about job creation for persons at the autistic spectrum. And thank you, James, for opening the stage to all of the speakers. You are from Autistica, from the UK, and you have been diagnosed with autism as a child, and you're now a CEO. So thank you for opening the the stage. And then I'll go from like the row you're sitting in, okay? So Remo, you're from Japan. Your company is called OHANA. It's a daycare center, yeah, in Japan, in northern Japan. And I drew a coffee cup on top because you're a daycare center that focuses on the abilities of people from the autism spectrum. And you said that in Japan it's very difficult for people with neurodiverse behavior to actually find a daycare center. Not at all at the job. So many of them are suffering from poverty, and daycare centers are missing. So you created a daycare center with the focus on abilities, and we heard the example of Mr. A, whose job it is to sort out coffee beans by quality. So good beans, bad beans, and questionable beans. So that was one example, and you are giving people self-esteem, making them create their own abilities so they can feel more valued. Catarina, yeah? Critical Software SA from Portugal. You are a software company, and you are building jobs, creating jobs for autistic people. And there are a few steps that you're focusing on. In the choosing of the candidates, you give them enough time to show their abilities. Then you aim for long-term employment. After that, you provide support and focus on the talents of the persons. And then there's good teamwork also going on. Overall, the impact is very high. And I tried to draw somebody who's pushing your company to evolve, because that was one of your messages. Okay? Now, Beacon College in the US, the only college for only neurodiverse people. So congratulations on that. Sadly enough, there are not many universities or colleges like this. You focus on neurodiversity and, of course, on autism spectrum. You teach all kinds of things, tech, design, arts. So maybe that is the answer to the question where you can start. And you now also use the support of AI in your teaching. And I drew two hands who are trying to shake hands because it's the college working together with the industry so that employers and also maybe in healthcare, you said, people can find a job, also bring their support animals and all the things that are necessary for neurodiverse people to have a good place in their workplace. Last but not least, Kurt from auticon, Germany. You are also an IT company, you are a social enterprise, and you provide IT support to your clients, that's your service, but from the problem that 15% of the population is autistic and 70% of them is unemployed. They either don't have a job or have a job that doesn't match their talents. So you're focusing on the perfect person for the perfect job, and you're already working in 15 countries. You have about 600 employees, and 82 of them are from the autism spectrum. To sum it all up, you have you focus on the special power of the person, and then provide support, and it's not, you said it's not rocket science. It's finding out what works and what doesn't, and then create the environment to make sure it works. So your company's goal is to be an employer, but also to educate your clients to hire people from the autistic spectrum. And I learned that the job coaches kind of build the bridges between the employer and the company or the workplace. So I think we're out of time. So, but thank you very much for your great work.
Thank you very much for that brilliant summary. I'm very sorry we're definitely running slightly over time. A huge thank you to all of our fantastic speakers and all the people that took the time to ask questions. I think this is not just a fantastic opportunity here to focus on these areas for autistic people, but also for society as a whole, reflecting on that term neurosimilarity and the fact that everyone has differences and needs, and if we can understand that in autistic people, it could be a vanguard for understanding that in all of our society. So thank you everyone, and thank you for your time.